Confession time. I have been writing since 6th grade, so a very long time. Although many of my stories will never make it to publication, I'm still very proud of them. However, I admit when I started college, I had to put writing to the side, and that's because I had to make space for reading textbooks, which are boring and very bland, and well, my writing was bland. Granted, I was writing essays and taking tests. And I only took one fiction writing course, and I produced very, very poor writing through that course, so I would never share those pieces. I decided to go into the teaching field because I didn't want to get a degree in some form of writing and then find myself not writing. In other words, I would rather not be studying how to write and instead be in the act or doing the act of writing, if that makes sense. However, teaching is a very stressful field. If you're committed to the growth and learning of your students, you, or in this case myself, will dedicate all your time and energy to ensure that you and your classroom are ready for the students. Because I was dedicated to my students, I had very little time for myself and zero time to write. I honestly did not get back into writing until after I left the teaching field, so that's like 8+ years because you got to include college as well. I learned the hard way that writing is not the same thing as riding a bike. I couldn't just pick up a pen and notebook and start writing again. I actually had to start from ground zero. This means I had to read. I read in my areas of interest as well as other genres just to get a feel for, well, writing altogether. I also discovered audiobooks, which are a lifesaver because as a mom of 2 kids, I really don't have time to read. Well, maybe now I do. But for the most part, I don't have time to read, and I can listen to audiobooks while I'm sitting at work because I sit in front of a computer all day. And I know I can listen to it in the car during my commute, but I enjoy listening to the radio. I also had to learn how to write all over again. So I was taking any form of free writing courses and reading any nonfiction self-help books by authors. One story idea that came to me during this process is this little book. Wait, I don't have it. Hold on. This little book. As proud as I am to have this book finally in my hands and available for you guys, it took me 5 years to write. This is because I was dead focused on one thing, the point of view. My point of view, to be exact. I wanted it to be perfect. Which brings me to the point of this video. If you're struggling to write your manuscript or get your story moving forward, try changing the point of view. Don't try to be a perfectionist like myself, or else your story may never come out and you may be questioning why for years to come. Instead, if your novel starts in first person, try third person. If your book starts from the protagonist's point of view, change it up and try it from the antagonist's point of view. If your manuscript starts within a home, change it up and start it outside, or take your character to the cafe, the park, or work. The reason I say this is because by doing this, I was actually able to complete my book in 2 weeks. What took me 5 years to think about only took me 2 weeks to write up. That's because for 5 years, I wanted my novel to start up a very specific way. I had a vision for how I wanted it to start in the first chapter, and yet for 5 years, I couldn't even write that down on paper. So I made notes and I ended up writing other projects instead, and I even took up content creation and blogging. In actuality, all I had to do was change the point of view. I originally had my main character outside looking up at her apartment complex, which is the town, and once I changed that up and I put my hero inside the apartment complex in her unit, the story came to life. It was that simple. And I can't believe it took me 5 years to take on this piece of advice that I'm not the first person to tell you guys. So to reiterate, if you're struggling to write your manuscript or get your story moving forward, change the point of view. You may discover something you never would have had you stuck to your original point of view. And this may be the one touch that your story needs. And if you need story ideas, see the description box below, as I have tons of story ideas and other free resources for you guys. That's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you need other videos on more writing tips and tricks, see the ones on the screen, and I will see you there. Take care and have fun reading and writing. Bye!